Spirit of life. We ask thy blessings on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationships, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world.
Thank you. And for the young people, if you can please take a seat on the floor as we do for first reflection, that would be great. Right at the bottom of the stairs, please. And if I can find the candle, I will light the chalice. So this morning, I'd like to have a conversation about seeds and plants and seeds. So what you just did there is you offered a blessing. Who can tell me what a blessing is? A blessing is a gift. Thank you. It is a way of pausing and noticing and naming when something is special. And the thing that you're blessing could be a person, it could be a place, it could be a moment, it could be a bunch of flowers like you just did. And everyone can offer a blessing. The only difference between me and you is that ministers are often asked to offer blessings more often. So, feel free to bless whatever calls your heart. So, I have been the minister here for a very long time. I started here before some of you were born, and that is a terrifying idea, but it's true. And so when I started my ministry here, we offered a blessing upon this new ministry, and we had a special service. And the service had a theme of butterflies. Who can tell me the connection between butterflies and caterpillars? Yes. Butterflies are grown-up caterpillars, indeed. So, and does anybody want to nuance that? Yes. So, yes, this is a nuanced explanation. Butterflies at one point were young, like us, but they grew up and they had a transformation. And I think we have the information we need at this point, thank you. And the reason I asked you that is that we as a community wanted to be ourselves. We wanted to be the same being, but we wanted to grow and change. We wanted to grow up. So we thought the butterfly was a good theme. So at the service, we gave out seed balls. Could you provide the seed balls for a moment, please? And the seed balls that we're bringing forward, these are seed balls I made, and they're made with clay and a little bit of compost. Could I have one? Thank you. Compost from Rame and Donna's garden, and wildflower seeds. And we gave these out because we wanted people to go back to their homes and help the actual butterflies. And so what you do with the seed ball is you throw it on the ground, and hopefully it lands in the dirt and a flower grows. And we figured the butterflies would be fed by that, and that would be a really good thing. So if you see the flower up here on the screen, that is a flower that was grown from one of these seed balls. Oh. Not sure how the moose got up there, but it wasn't in the slide deck. But anyway, so if we have a flower up there, yes. And that photo was taken by my father, and the flower was grown by my father. So thanks, Dad. So it was nice to see those seeds turn into plants. So one thing we know about butterflies is butterflies migrate. Migrate is a fancy word for go from place to place. And that's true for people, and that's true for ministers too. So I unfortunately am moving away, and this is my last service with you, and I'm going to miss you very much. So I have a request of you. I would like you to offer another blessing. Let's give this back. So Sam is going to, in a moment, put the tray of seed balls around you or near you, so you can again put all of your love and good wishes into the seeds. And could we not have the photo of the moose, but have a photo of my garden? Is that the photo of the garden? Yes, okay. So as you can see, my yard really welcomes flowers well. So I think after you put all your love and good wishes into the seed balls, I will throw them into the garden and they will flourish, and that way we'll still be together. But I wanted to give something to you in return. So Sam, if you can please bring forward the plants. There's a story behind these plants. So even longer ago, before maybe even some of your parents were born, and that was a very long time ago, my aunt gave my family a spider plant. And if you've never seen a spider plant, it's not made of spiders. They just look like spiders. And spider plants have a lot of babies. And so I took this spider plant with me to college, and eventually I gave it to a friend. And then many years after that, the friend gave me a baby from that spider plant. And from that baby, I have grown many, many spider plants. So what I would like to do is, as you are blessing the seed balls, I'm going to put all my love and good wishes into these plants. And that way, you can take it home with your family, and you can grow the spider plant, and that way I'll be close to you. So one thing about the plants is one per household, so you don't have 1,000 plants. And also, please be sure to hold the cup upright because it's dirt and we want to keep the sanctuary clean. Okay, so Sam, if you can help us if you put the plants here, maybe coordinating the young people in the seed balls, and then when we're ready, at the count of 3, we'll close our eyes and put all of our love and good wishes into these plants. Ready? Can you put your hands close to them? Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Amen. Thank you. So we invite one kid from each household to take a plant and to go back to your grown-ups. And can we raise the screen? Thank you. We now come into the centering time in our service, settling in body and in spirit, first through words and then ritual, kindling of the light, a time to light a candle of personal joy, sorrow, or concern, either at the candle table here in the sanctuary or at home. At that time for you in the sanctuary, if you'd like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand. And for our youngest friends, we have a number of battery-operated candles at the table in front of the lectern. We invite you to use those. After we kindle the light, we'll be together in a time of shared silence, out of which we will sing hymn number 396 in the great hymnal, I Know This Rose Will Open. Let us begin with a meditation by William Sinkford. He writes, in the presence of these flowers, these representatives of creation's profound beauty, diverse and unique, but related and interdependent, these flowers which come to us as gifts from we know not where, and which we in turn choose to bring to our shared and common altar, these gifts to one another. In their presence, we turn our thoughts to the mystery beyond mysteries, to the most sacred, which we never understand fully, but which we are granted revelatory glimpses of in each of these flowers, in each of your faces, and through relationships with neighbors near and far. May they remind us of grace we have known in days past, Forgiveness we've been granted and provided, love unearned and shared, recovery begun and established, generosity unforeseen and most sacred. And may they inspire us now and in days to come to seek, to notice, to embrace, and to recreate beauty, to give unto the world as exuberantly as these flowers. Let us now kindle the light.
Earlier in our service, Harris and the children blessed our gathered flowers with a prayer by the Reverend Norbeck Chapek, the creator of the flower ceremony. We will now learn a little bit more about Chapek and the tradition he and his community created more than 100 years ago. Like many of us, over time, Chapek came to believe different things about spirituality. He eventually became a Unitarian minister, leading a large church named Unitaria in a country once called Czechoslovakia. The families who belonged to Unitaria also believed different things, with many coming from other churches that did not allow many religious questions. When Unitaria gathered for worship, they spent a lot of time talking about what they believed and why. So services were almost like lectures, with a lot of head, but with little heart. Chapek thought they should have a little more heart. He became inspired to create a ritual that included everyone, no matter what they believed. One day, walking through the countryside, he saw the beautiful wildflowers growing around him. So many different colors and kinds. Then he decided to invite everyone to bring a flower to worship, representing them as an individual, gathering the flowers into a bouquet and blessing it, a symbolic way to bless the whole congregation, and then having each person select a different flower, reflecting the way we choose to be together in community. The flower ceremony was born, with the first one celebrated in 1923. When we tell the story of the flower ceremony, we also have to tell the story of what happened next in Czechoslovakia. The country was invaded in what we now called World War II. Chapek and many others did what they could do to protect those who were most in danger. A minister and his wife from nearby Wellesley, Massachusetts, were some of his fellow activists traveling to Europe to assist refugees. This work was the beginning of an organization whose first symbol was a flaming chalice. When we light our chalice in worship, in memorials, in weddings, and in other gatherings, this ritual calls us back to the courage of those who fought so bravely for human rights. Chapek refused to leave and refused to stop resisting. He died in prison. After his death, his wife Maya came to the United States. She introduced the flower ceremony to a congregation in New Jersey. The kindling of the chalice, the flower ceremony, became an important ritual beyond the community where it began. The symbolism of celebrating the individual, the community, and the willingness to affirm one another still has meaning in our world today. When we celebrate the flower ceremony, it is a way of recommitting to a covenant, a promise of inclusion through the beauty of nature. And it is a way to keep alive Chapek's memory. Like the scent of a flower, he may have left us, but the essence of his vision and his love linger on.
Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. Looking out at this beautiful community, I can understand why Chapek saw a field of wildflowers and thought of his people. In this service full of blessings and rituals, in my last time preaching a sermon with you, it seems fitting to bless not just our flowers, but you with Chapek's words. Quick aside, I've given myself permission to cry during the sermon, but hopefully not so much that you can't understand me, so here goes. As I approached this year's flower ceremony, there is one part of the ritual that kept coming into focus, the act of choosing. In the flower ceremony, we choose a flower to represent us, and later choose a different flower to represent those we claim as fellow members of the covenant to which we belong. 9 years ago, we chose each other as minister and congregation. It's been a choice we did not make once, but time and time again. For that is the nature of living together in covenant. I keep using that word, covenant. This is a fancy way of saying promise. This is the way that Unitarian Universalists stay together as a community instead of choosing the same beliefs about the sacred. When I meet with newcomers to the congregation, I often share an article about covenant written by the Reverend Victoria Safford. She reminds us that being in covenant is a conscious decision we make over and over again. Citing Wendell Berry, she affirms, "We can join one another only by joining the unknown. You do not know the road. You have committed your life to a way." She continues, "A covenant is a living, breathing aspiration made new every day. It cannot be enforced by consequences, but it may be reinforced by forgiveness and by grace when we stumble, when we forget, when we mess up. In choosing one another again and again, we joined the unknown as we traveled a long and sometimes difficult road together, yet all roads end somewhere. As I've been reminded so many times serving as your minister, even when we want nothing more than to continue into infinity, nothing and no connection and no person is immortal. And so now it is time for my ministry to end, which means saying goodbye. There are not enough Kleenex up here, by the way. Like many people, as you can see, I do not like saying goodbye to people, to places, to communities. To leave or to have someone leave is to experience a loss. These losses are painful, and yet they are so much a part of life. Because I don't enjoy saying goodbye, I sometimes need a little help in the process. I've come to appreciate some wisdom from Ira Byock, a leader in the hospice movement, who names 5 elements of a good farewell. Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. I love you. Goodbye. In this time when I'm bidding farewell to the Winchester Unitarian Society, these elements inspire me to touch on each one through this homily and through my last month with you. If you wish to have a farewell conversation with me one-on-one, please let me know before July so we can find a good time and way to meet. A good farewell begins with thank you for welcoming me into your community, your pulpit, your lives, your joys, and your suffering, and into the shared quest to make the world a better place. To welcome a minister is to bestow a sacred trust. I am grateful to you for taking this leap of faith with me and with my leadership, not just at the beginning of our ministry, but every day, every week, month, and year we journey together. I'm sorry. When I met with the congregation during candidating week, I remember saying that I am an imperfect person and an imperfect minister. These past 9 years have likely made this clear. I know there have been times when some needed a minister and I showed up as a nonprofit leader. Some needed me to either reach out or keep my distance, and I did just the opposite. Some needed a different style of preacher or a minister with a different skill set. I've lost my temper, I've dropped balls, I've made poor decisions, and I have a chronic poor response time with email. Am I alone in this? Do you also have that problem? Just wanted to check. There have been many ways in which I have not been the minister that you deserve. I take responsibility for the harm that I have caused, and I apologize. I forgive you. Serving as a minister is hard and has only gotten harder over the past 9 years. I've been at WUS long enough to recognize how the congregation's structure and culture leaves leaders of all kinds, lay leaders, staff, and your minister, often isolated and underappreciated, undersupported. This makes getting things done difficult. And while most members of the community are always polite and civil, sometimes people employ bullying behavior when they are upset, or they want to make things happen, or they want to get their way. I've been on the receiving end of this behavior, and it hurts. While this way of treating another is concerning, I've been more concerned about the collective tolerance of this behavior when it's witnessed. So I forgive you for not yet creating an environment that allows everyone to thrive in their leadership. and for not yet learning how to set loving boundaries with those who struggle to honor the worth and dignity of others. There are two more elements to touch on: I love you and goodbye. I don't think I'll ever be ready to say goodbye to you, my beloved Winchester Unitarian Society, but I will before this service is done. Yet I'm always ready to affirm how much I love you, and I'm grateful to have chosen you and for you to have chosen me all these 9 years. You, great messengers of fellowship and love, continue to enthusiastically choose one another along the road of life. May you ever remember the sacredness of this choice and tend to your promises to and with one another like the fragile and life-giving gifts that they are.
And on that note, now comes the time in our service when we make an offering to support this self-supporting church and its many ministries. This morning illustrates many of the beautiful and important strengths of this community, both during the past years and going forward. Our financial support allows the growth and blossoming that has occurred until now to continue. Like any beautiful garden, this one needs care and tending, both through the work we do and the resources we provide. Giving makes possible the many benefits that this wonderful community supports. Let us make this offering as we continue to build the beloved community. As is our custom, we share half of this morning's proceeds with an organization that supports UU values in the world beyond our walls. As June is Pride Month, this morning, Share the Plate will benefit Speak Out Boston, a community of speakers working to create a world free of homo, bi, transphobia, and other forms of prejudice by telling the truth of many lives. Here are the different ways you can donate. Those in the sanctuary may give cash, checks, or donate electronically. Text to the number in your order of service or visit our website under the Giving page. If you are visiting for the first time, either in person or online, you are our guest. In-person attendees can find a physical visitor card in the pew racks in front of you. Please complete it and put it in the collection plate so that we may stay in touch. Information about how to give online and how to complete the virtual visitor card will be shared with live screen attendees through text on your screen. The offering will now be generously given and gratefully received.
Anybody can the ecstasy define.
Of a transport, of a trouble, with which flowers humble men. Anybody find the fountain from which love so natural flow?
I will give him all the daisies which upon the hillside flow. Too much pathos in their faces for a simple breast like mine.
Those who wish to do so are invited to join in the unison affirmation. We gather not for ourselves alone, but to use our common power to build the beloved community within and beyond these walls. We create and reaffirm this covenant this day to make justice flourish, to practice compassion, and to embody transformative love.
We now come to the time in our service when you are invited to come forward and select a flower different than the one that you brought. You may select a flower from any of us up front, and if you would like a flower brought to you in the pews, please raise your hand. Let us now exchange the flowers.
So during 2018 to 2020, I was the intern minister here at the Winchester Unitarian Society. This morning, it is my honor to officiate the releasing of covenant ritual. In August of 2015, the Reverend Heather Janulis began her ministry as your 16th settled minister. On May 1st, 2016, this congregation had an installation service to celebrate and welcome Heather into service as your minister. During that service, Reverend Heather and the Winchester Unitarian Society pledged your mutual commitment to serve each other and the shared ministry of this congregation. As Heather's ministry with the congregation concludes with today's service, it is fitting that we release you from the mutual pledges that were made.
Heather, almost a decade ago, we welcomed you as our trusted friend, teacher, and minister. As our minister, you have guided us, challenged us, and led us, taught us, and helped us to build beloved community, both within and beyond these hallowed walls. You have supported us in times of joyful celebration and comfort us in sadness. In return, as we journey together in our shared life of service, we have collaborated with you, offered our talents, our resources, and cooperation and trust. As you prepare to take your leave, we thank you for the integrity, commitment, and care with which you have ministered with and to us during your time as our minister.
I now invite the congregation to join us in honoring Heather's ministry by asking the members and friends of Winchester Unitarian Society to read together in unison the words that are printed in the order of service. Heather, we are grateful for your professional leadership as a member of the staff team, for your spiritual guidance, for encouraging and supporting lay leaders to share their gifts and skills, for your creativity in worship, for your prophetic ministry of speaking truth as you see it, for your work of racial justice, equity, and inclusion for all, and for the pastoral care you have offered to us and to the wider community. Even though you will no longer be with us, your influence of peace, truth, justice, and compassion will remain. Heather, would you like to say something to the congregation?
As I named in my homily, there are two more things for me to say in our farewell. This seems like the time to say them. I love you. I love you as individuals and as a people. I feel so fortunate to have created relationships with some of the wisest, kindest, most interesting, generous, intelligent, hardworking, and creative people one could ever know. There are no words for how much I care for you and how much I'll miss you. And goodbye. This is actually not my last service with you, as next Saturday we will hold a memorial service for Dennis Brett, and I'll be working with WUS until the end of June. So it's not time to fully say goodbye, but July 1st is coming soon. And when that day comes, I will take my leave, ever grateful for our shared ministry. On that day, know that my love and respect for you will always remain.
The time has now come to ask, do you, the members and friends of the Winchester Unitarian Society, release Reverend Heather from her role as your minister? If you agree, say, we do. Do you, Reverend Heather, release the Winchester Unitarian Society from turning to you for ministry and guidance? If you do, say, I do.
I do.
The covenant of shared ministry between the Reverend Heather Janulis and the Winchester Unitarian Society has now been released. But Heather's ministry and your ministry as a congregation will continue on, each bringing light, hope, and love to the world in new and unique ways. This time, please join me in bestowing a blessing upon Heather. Spirit of life and love, we are grateful for all the ways Heather's ministry has guided, supported us, and changed us. May Heather be strengthened by your abiding presence as she embarks on the journey of pursuing her heart's desire for being both a minister and a therapist. Let us offer Heather our blessing that light, love, and playfulness be her steadfast companions as she travels forward on this path of learning and of offering her compassionate presence and insightful wisdom to the many people whose lives she will touch. Heather, may you go in peace. May you go with our blessings. And may you go with our great affection as life calls you on to the next chapter of your life and ministry. Amen. I'll miss you.
I'll miss you too. Now let's sing. Rise in body, rise in spirit to join in singing our closing hymn, Life Calls Us On. You will find this
have my
hymn
word-
in
yeah,
an
I'll
insert
share
in your
with you.
order of service or as text on the live stream screen. So you should have a flower in hand. Please raise it high. Let us create that beautiful garden. And let us take a moment to just look around at all these beautiful blossoms, all these beautiful people, this beautiful community. Life calls us on, each of us along different paths, yet ever connected in this moment. As we go forth, may we hold fast to the truth. We are surrounded by beauty. We are strengthened by love. No matter where our paths take us, we do not go alone. Go in peace. Amen. Please join in reciting together the words for extinguishing our chalice. They are printed in the order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. This service has ended, but our life of service continues. Let's go down to Metcalf Hall and celebrate.